Melissa Fuller with Shape of the City. We are at Fire Station number 1 here in Lincoln, Nebraska, downtown area. I am with Captain Crist. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So we are going to be talking about winter safety. And so I would love to hear, what are some of the big things, what are the big things causing fires this time of year?
You know, cooking is always the number one reason for fires, and basically it's unattended cooking utensils. People put something on the stove and then get distracted with something outside or something with children. So, you know, once you decide to cook, commit yourself to that cooking. Turn those pan handles back when you're cooking to, you know, so that a kiddo can't get a hold of it and pull it down on them. Ensure that your oven is off before you leave your home, you know, for an extended period of time. So cooking is probably the number one thing that we think of. And then, you know, it's the time of the holidays. So people like to burn candles and like to cozy up to a fire. You know, remember that there are alternatives to actually lit candles now. You can buy the, you know, just the flicker battery operated candles. They actually offer some pretty good ambiance. And then fireplaces. You know, before you light your fire for the first time, be sure that you have had that chimney cleaned or at least inspected to make sure that there's not a big buildup of creosote in the inside of that chimney, which can cause fires.
All right, detectors. What are your tips for people to keep an eye on their either smoke detector, their carbon monoxide detector? What are those things that they should be keeping in mind?
So we just recently fell backwards for our clocks. And we recommend anytime you change your clocks that you change the batteries in your detectors. Most detectors have a life of about 10 years. So if you build a new home 10 years ago and you know you haven't changed those, just replace them. It's worth it. You know, smoke detectors are detecting, they detect the smoke early on and are going to get you out of your house and keep you safe. So change those batteries every time we change the clock. So that would mean, you know, changing those batteries every 6 months. But that's a small investment for that insured security.
And carbon monoxide detectors as well?
Same thing, yep. So carbon monoxide detectors, you know, you want to keep them in the lowest level of your home, like outside of where your furnace area is. The new mentality is that we have one of those on every level as well. And it used to be just down by the furnace. So we recommend that you have a CO detector on every level. We recommend now that you have a smoke detector inside and outside of every bedroom. So that's kind of some new thoughts. You know, I know that sometimes those smoke detectors can be an annoyance near a kitchen. You know, you're cooking up some fried chicken and it smokes enough to make that smoke detector go off. Don't take the battery, don't deactivate that detector.
And there are a lot of different types of smoke detectors now. It's not, I mean, there may be some that are wired in, some that have batteries.
Yep. Some of them are hardwired, some of them are still the disposable, some of them are the combo, the smoke detector with the CO detector. So there's several different types on the market.
And if you're renting, let's say it's not your place, but you should probably be aware too of the things that you
you know, that's, you know, if you're renting a place, that's something to look for when you walk through. You know, when you walk through for the first time, is the landlord have smoke detectors on, you know, on every floor at least, and inside and outside of those bedrooms? If not, ask them to do that. That is their responsibility to make sure that the renting property is safe for the renters.
Are there any other things, any other final thoughts you would want to leave with our viewers in terms of staying safe over the winter months?
Well, you know, as it gets cold, we also think of slips and trips. So, you know, avoid going out if we know that the sidewalk is slick, especially our older constituents. We want to make sure that they stay safe and not walk out on ice. You know, scooping snow can precipitate a cardiac event. So, you know, if you're of the age that maybe you should hire someone to have that snow shoveled rather than go out and do it yourself.
What are some other things, especially with the holidays, we should be keeping in mind?
So, you know, when we think about the holidays, we think about plugging in lights. We put lights on our house, we put lights in our home, we put lights on our Christmas tree. We want to make sure that we're using proper plug-in receptacles for those extension cords. For instance, plug them into a surge protected strip so that in the event that there is a short in those lights, it will shut off.
And I imagine with cold weather, for those who may smoke, they may be trying to smoke more indoors to stay warm.
Yep. Be sure that your smoking materials are completely extinguished before you go to bed. We discourage people from smoking in bed. And also, if you are smoking in an apartment, you must have the proper receptacle to put that out. And be sure that it is extinguished completely before you go back inside, because that amazingly can start that decking on fire, and it's happened in the past where it's taken an entire building. So
thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you.
So we invite everyone to stay safe, be smart, and thanks for watching.
It's everybody's responsibility to be fire safe. Improper cigarette disposal is one of the leading causes of fires in homes.
As someone who's been a victim of a cigarette-related fire, I ask you to put out your cigarette safely.
One flick can ruin many lives.
Please, put out your cigarette safely.
Learn how to stop the fire before it starts. Visit tobaccofreelancastercounty.org for information about safe cigarette disposal.
But we want to talk about, focus on space heaters, because people use them to supplement their furnace, to supplement the fireplace. They don't want to crank up the thermostat to heat the entire house when they're spending most of their time in a room.
Right. So a shocking statistic that a lot of people don't know about, according to NFPA, 50,000 fires are attributed to electrical devices such as space heaters, electrical cords, things like that. And so we actually have some tips that you want to keep in mind whenever you're using space heaters. You want to try and keep a 3-foot perimeter around any space heater or ignition source. You want to make sure that you plug them directly into the wall. You don't want to use extension cords, any sort of daisy chain situation. And we recommend that you don't use those adapters, those 6-to-1 adapters. You want to plug them straight into the wall. And I like to tell people that rugs are the enemy. You don't want extension cords running under any sort of rugs or anything like that. It's just going to add to the fire load and have bad consequences.
Jason, why can't I use an extension cord?
Well, so a lot of people are under the assumption that you have safety devices in your house that'll protect you in case you plug one too many items into an outlet, which is true. Every now and then you'll notice that if you have a refrigerator and a microwave plugged into the same outlet, you try to use both at the same time and the breaker will pop. But depending on the type of devices that you're using to plug those into the wall, you could actually be removing those safeties. So you got to think of electricity as cars on a highway. But instead of cars on a highway, we have electrons flowing across a conductor. Conductors are anything that electricity can pass through. So in this case, the wires of your house, the extension cords, or the power strips that you're using. So just like on a highway, if you try to put too many cars down that highway, people get angry. They get upset, tempers get hot. With electrons, you try to flow too many electrons through too small of a space, and it creates heat. And that heat can eventually start a fire. So we've brought in a demonstration today to show you how this can happen without actually popping a breaker. So what we've got here is a circuit that we've made with a 60 amp breaker and wire that is capable of handling 60 amps of current. And then we have this small section here that is, we've removed the insulation to it so it doesn't create a lot of smoke. But this is to demonstrate using a space heater or an extension cord. So most houses only run 15 to 20 amps through a circuit. For the essence of time, we've cranked up the amps to 60 because this can take sometimes hours to actually get hot enough to start a fire. So we're not going to wait that long. We're going to crank it up a little bit and show you what happens. So you'll notice that the small wire is starting to turn hot and it'll eventually break. This is because we've got too many electrons trying to flow through it or too many cars trying to go down this highway at one time. You'll notice that the breaker didn't pop. And this is because the breaker is no longer the weak link in this circuit. Now the small wire is the weak link. And that weak link can be an extension cord, it can be a wall adapter, or it can be a power strip that you used with any sort of a high amp device, which could be a space heater, a refrigerator, a microwave, in case you don't have enough outlets in your kitchen, so you think you can just run an extension cord over. And that can all create some pretty big issues for you.
This is a power strip. Is that a dangerous device to plug a space heater into?
Yeah, absolutely. Space heaters need to be plugged directly into walls when you use them, which is kind of unfortunate. The cord's only so long, but there's also a reason for that, because the longer the cord, the more resistance, or the smaller the highway gets, and then that can start creating heat.
Hello again, this is Melissa Fuller with Shape of the City, and we are still at Fire Station number 1 here in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I am with Julie Anderson. She is with Safe Kids Lincoln-Lancaster County, and that is with the Health Department, correct? We are still talking about winter safety. We're focusing a little more on the kiddos. Right. So, Julie, for the winter, what are some more specific things kids need to keep in mind when they're going outside, or parents for those kids?
Okay, make sure they have layers on, okay, to keep them warm, and a hat and gloves are really important. Sunscreen is a good idea if we get a lot of snow, which could happen. That snow reflects the sun and you can get burned outside, so make sure you have suntan lotion available too. Make sure the kids stay hydrated outside. They're outside for a couple hours, they're gonna get thirsty, and they need to be able to, cure that thirst if things go on. And if they're sledding, we've got those great sledding hills down over at Holmes Lake. Try a small hill first if this is your kid's first year on a sled. Make sure they go feet first. Make sure they have something they can steer and not one of those little inner tubes that they go flying, in an effort to keep them safe.
That's wonderful, thank you. So, in that same world, being outside, water safety, inside and outside.
Right. Inside, the water shouldn't be more than 120 degrees, so make sure if you have small people and you put them in the tub, you want to check the water. Use a meat thermometer to check to see what the water temperature is. Kids can drown in an inch of water, so you have to make sure that you never leave your child in the bathtub unsupervised. Even for a split second to go take a phone call, check something on the stove, make sure you stay with them the whole time that they're in the bathtub. Open water, hopefully not too many people are gonna be near open water in the winter, but we want them to stay safe, and supervision is the best way to keep kids safe.
All right, so at this time of year, a lot of people are cooking, it's the holiday season, there may be candles lit.
Right.
What do we need to think about?
Oh, making sure that you keep the candles out of little people's way. Anybody from like 1 to 5, 1 to 6 are going to be really, really infatuated with that flame. And so you have to make sure that the candles are up high if you're going to use them, and they're used sparingly. Don't use a lot of them when you've got little kids around.
And the same thing with stove.
Yeah, if you are cooking any holiday meal, there are going to be a lot of people in the kitchen, including the kids. Make sure that the handles for the pots on the stove are off around on the inside so that nobody decides to grab them, unexpectedly and surprise everybody.
All right, so holidays also can mean a lot of traveling in the car. So little people traveling in the car, what's the number one thing?
Aspirin, probably. It's a good idea to check their car seats. In the state of Nebraska, they have to be in a seat up to the age of 8. If they're in a 5-point harness, make sure that it is tight enough that you can't pinch the harness straps at the top when you put them in. That's a little difficult for some small people. Make sure that it doesn't move more than an inch side to side or front to back. Everybody should check their car seats once in a while, and this is a great time to do it when you're getting ready to travel somewhere for a long period of time.
And you guys sometimes still have car seat checkups, correct?
Absolutely. We have car seat checks once a month in Lincoln and the surrounding community, and you have to do is check the website at www.safekidslincoln.org.
Perfect. Okay, and the final thing, there's presents, there's a lot of things going on. Home safety, maybe people are getting a lot of electronics, a brand new TV. What are the things they should think of?
Well, flat screen TVs are an attraction for small people, and if they're not mounted to the wall with straps or brackets, they can fall on them. So people have to think about that. If they get a brand new TV, make sure that they don't put it up unless they have wall brackets to put it on.
So this season, it involves lots of batteries, lots of electronics.
Right. Lots of things that have small batteries, small button batteries in them. And we have a group of little people between the ages of 3 and 5 that can easily get the backs off of things pretty quickly and efficiently, and we don't want them to do that, because if they do that and then swallow the button battery, it can cause serious damage to their insides, and we just don't want that to happen. So please be careful with anything small that has a button battery in it, for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for all these great tips. Where can people go if they want more information?
Well, again, we have lots of tip sheets on the website, and we'd love to see people go there if they have any questions. They can also call 402-441-8045, and we'll get them information.
Perfect. Thanks.
Each year, more than 60,000 children are treated in emergency rooms because they got into medications while unsupervised. Keep your children safe today. Store medicines up and away and out of sight. Even if you are tempted to keep medicine handy, put it away every single time. Read the label, follow the instructions, and only use the dosing device packaged with the medication. Have the Poison Control Center number at hand. Safe storage, safe dosing, safe kids. For more tips, visit safekids.org.
My name is Damon Hershey. I'm one of many people in Lincoln that rides a bike year-round. It is important for winter riding to be prepared, especially being visible. You want to have a good quality light. You want to be visible to all road users. You want to be sharing the road. You also want to remember the 3-foot passing law. That's a safety for both the cyclists as well as the motorists. And of course, if you'd like to find out more, you can visit lincoln.ne.gov.
Hello, my name is Kristen Huska, and I'm here with Hussein at Amin Kitchen and Grocery for Choose Healthy Here. Choose Healthy Here is a program with Nebraska Extension's Nutrition Education Program in partnership with Community Health Endowment. It is a program that helps support local either convenience stores or grocery stores to help make the affordable choice, the healthy choice for different limited resource populations in the area. Choose Healthy Here really focuses on getting the 5 food groups in these locations, meaning that they focus on protein, which is lean protein, low-fat dairy, fruits with no added sugar, vegetables with no added sauce, and whole grains. Choose Healthy Here also lets people choose their products, make them affordable, know how to use them, and make them accessible to those populations. Amin's Kitchen and Grocery is one of our 7 locations here in Lincoln with Choose Healthy Here, and we are very excited to have them on board. They have been great partners with us. They have made a whole section for their fresh produce here in their store, and every Friday they discount their produce 15% here at this location and also at their location called Sun Grocery. So Hussein, thank you for being one of our great partners with Choose Healthy Here. What led you to say that you want to choose healthy here in your store?
Well, thank you so much. And I do maintenance for a long time with companies, and now I'm a construction guy. So when I come back home, I really enjoy all the vegetables and all the healthy food that I eat at home. And that comes from my culture, where I'm originally from, in Iraq, and the whole Middle East. It was not about healthy food. It's about people cannot afford to buy the meat. So they come up with the falafel, with hummus, with the baba ganoush, everything made out of vegetable. I really enjoyed it, and now we find out it was a very healthy food, and I love to see or give back as much as American people give me, as learning my English without me going to school here, as make me a better maintenance guy, better electrician, better everything. And I'm a better citizen now because I do love this country, and I want to see everybody in this town be happy and healthy. Because we all are brothers and sisters, and that's the reason.
So why do you feel that Choose Healthy Here is important to this location and this neighborhood?
Because this is one of the oldest neighborhood in town, and if you drive around, you see that there's not enough parking or whatever. That means there is more people for each block. And that's why I got it expand, I got it bigger, and that way people can come in here as a walk-in. They don't have to drive anywhere else. And we try to compare our price with everybody else around town. and we try to have it healthy, not too expensive. You don't have to be rich to be here, and that's why we have even SNAP in our location or in both locations, Sun Grocery and here. And we try to bring everything, even some special stuff for like people from different cultures and stuff like that. And I know Americans, they love to try everything new. So there is a lot of new, and there is everything here that you will need. And I think our staff is very nice.
Well, I think your selection is great. You have lots of fresh produce, both fruits and vegetables in here. And then with Choose Healthy here, the lean meats, and you have local meats from the Wahoo Locker, which is great. And then we also sampled the other day a whole grains dish that had your whole grain rice, and people seem to love it. So he has great selection and bright and beautiful produce. They have a great restaurant as well in this location. So if you are ever coming to visit to buy some produce, go over and check out the restaurant as well. You can see more about Choose Healthy here on our Facebook page. It is NEP Lancaster County Extension. And if you click on the Choose Healthy Here icon, you'll be able to learn about all of the other locations in the program.